Okay, I'm gonna answer a few questions that were asked by a good friend of mine. She made a video of the questions, but no one has been able to answer them apparently, so I figured I'd go ahead and answer them for her. So, first question, why do we always feel ill after having a blood test? There is not everyone feels ill, first of all, gotta make that clear, but it is common for people to feel ill after a blood test. There is many reasons one can feel ill after a blood test, but the most common causes are phobias of needles and or blood. The next most common cause is slight iron deficiency. Iron is carried through the body in the blood, and if you have a low iron count already, then the extraction of iron from the body can cause the feeling of being ill. However, the most common cause is low level phobias. Question 2 is, sorry, one second. Yes, sorry. Question 2, do you dream when you are under anesthetic? General anesthesia is an induced coma-like state. Nearly all brain functions are out except areas responsible for vital functions. Even then, they are usually below their optimum, so it would be natural to assume that during regular general anesthesia there are no dreams according to medical science. However, in some cases, people have reported having dreams during general anesthesia. They are sometimes described as pleasant or sometimes as real nightmares. Dreams, more precisely, dreamlike states, are possible to occur during awakening or even during anesthesia when the level of anesthetic in the blood vary, as the level is not monitored carefully, so it is possible, and this allows some parts of the brain to regain their functions even for a small period of time. Dreams can also be associated with a side effect of anesthetic use. Anesthetic ketamine, for example, is known to produce hallucinations, out-of-body experiences, during awakening. Because of these dreams and other unpleasant experiences, nowadays, before inducing general anesthesia, some drugs are applied that cause people to have anterograde amnesia. So even if you have dreams during anesthesia, you probably won't remember them. So in short, yes, it is possible to dream while under anesthetic, just unlikely that you will remember them. Question 3 is, how do reptiles live with a cold body? Reptiles are vertebrates and share many anatomical features with birds and mammals. However, reptiles are different from birds and mammals in how their bodies operate and create heat. Birds and mammals are endotherms. They mainly create body heat metabolically, using energy from food. Endo means from within, so basically heat from within. Birds and mammals can maintain a high and constant body temperature, even in cool conditions. This means that some birds and mammals can live in cold places and be active all year round. In comparison, reptiles are ectotherms. They generate almost no body heat metabolically. Instead, reptiles use heat from the environment, such as heat from sunlight or warm soil. Ecto means from outside. While some large reptiles, such as pythons and marine turtles, heat themselves by shivering, like you do on a cold day, most still need environmental supplies of heat to provide the energy to move and keep their body working. Reptiles need temperatures that are not too low and not too high. Just like you, most reptiles like to keep their body at a certain temperature because they can't change their temperature by metabolism alone. Instead, they change their behavior. Reptiles maintain their body temperature by moving from place to place, putting part of their body in the shade and part in the sun, or changing how much of their body is touching the ground. The range of environmental temperatures over which they can do this is fairly limited. In cool conditions, reptiles are also become cool and very sluggish. Where it is too cold for too long, reptiles simply cannot live. In northern British Columbia, winter weather is too cold for reptiles to be active. If they stayed in the open, they would freeze to death. To live in the north, reptiles have to find some way to avoid exposure to cold in winter. Many birds escape the cold winters by migrating to warmer places, but aside from marine turtles, reptiles can't travel large distances. Instead, reptiles must either tolerate the cold or go underground or underwater to escape it. One way of tolerating the cold is to supercool. lower the body temperature below 0 centigrade without freezing body fluids. Not something you should try at home, of course. Or to tolerate freezing directly, which is the surviving freezing of the body. Some northern amphibians can survive freezing of a large part of their bodies, but this seems to be less common strategy in reptiles. There are a few exceptions. Hatchling painted turtles appear to survive winter through a combination of supercooling and freeze tolerance. Garter snakes also seem to have some tolerance for freezing. Most most of our reptiles, though, including garter snakes, avoid winter weather and freezing temperatures by hibernating, except for hatchlings. Painted turtles do this by going to the bottom of ponds or lakes that do not freeze solid. Even though the surface of the lake may be covered in ice, hibernating painted turtles survive by absorbing the small amount of oxygen they need from the water. In comparison, lizards and snakes hibernate on land using burrows and cavities to get underground and below the frost line, the depth that the surface freezes to. In places where winters are very cold and the frost line is very deep, sites where reptiles can get deep enough underground to survive the winter may be rare. In these cases, hibernating sites may be shared by animals, and animals may travel from far away to use the site. Although such communal hibernation also is sometimes seen in mild climates, such as that of Vancouver Island, it is more common where winters are cold. This behaviour also appears to be more common in certain species. In British Columbia, great garter snakes and rattlesnakes have been found in large communal hibernation. Because communal hibernation sites may be few and far between, snakes that use them often have to migrate relatively long distances to and from summer habitats. So basically, yes, so reptile is cold, but their environment generates forms of heat which they absorb, and they try to keep themselves moving, or they just go into a state of hibernation, which I'm sure you are aware what hibernation is. So that is question 3. So question 4, question 4 is what's red, round, and hairy? The most simple answer to this question is a rose. Next one, I'd say a sleeping red squirrel. They roll up. Question 5, who would you like the Prime Minister to be? I love this one, it's hilarious. No one. Really, there is no one. Who invented the first joke is question 6. This is a great one. A bit boring, but anyway, I'll explain. The world's oldest recorded joke has been traced back to 19,000 BC and suggests that toilet humour was as popular with the ancients as it is today. It is a saying of the Sumerians who lived in what is now southern Iraq goes, something which has never occurred since time immemorial, a young woman did not fart in her husband's lap. That was basically the joke, and no one exactly knows who was the person who came up with this, but they are believed to be Sumerian, and it is believed to be back in 1900 BC. So question 7, why isn't the world black and white? Colour comes from light, and light has the colour spectrum inside of it, and all matter absorbs and filters certain colours according to its molecular structure. So basically, when light touches an object, the majority of the spectrum is absorbed and majority of the spectrum is absorbed and the rest is filtered out. The colour spectrum that is absorbed will be the colour that the matter will appear to be. But of course, it's not that simple, as some animals do see in black and white, and this is because their eyes are not able to absorb or recognize the color spectrum. Question 8. What cures depression? You won't believe this, but it is the truth. The cure for depression is love. First to love oneself, and then to love everything else, to love even the bad things. Love is the cure, it really is. That simple, just not so easy to believe, but it is. It's just that simple. Question 9. Are famous people shallow? Being honest, they are just like everyone else. Most people are shallow, but not everyone is shallow, so famous people are the same. Question 10. Why do we make videos? This is a very simple answer as well. This is because we like to hold on to experiences, so we can, in a way, relive the experience. What is life all about is the last and final question. And again, it's a very simple answer. Life is experience. Yes, that's right. The meaning of life, the purpose to life is to experience everything and anything. Just experience. That is what life is all about. So there have been my questions and answers for Skye Summers. I hope they answered her questions. All my love is with you, of course. And may everyone have a good day or night wherever you are.